Today we're diving into a common habit that might be hindering your progress, and that is skipping breakfast. Many individuals start their day with just caffeine or an inadequate, pitiful breakfast, powering through their morning tasks, only to experience energy crashes and late night cravings. Now, this pattern isn't some sort of personal quirk, it can disrupt your metabolism and your overall performance. Research indicates that when you eat is as crucial as what you eat for hormonal balance and metabolic function and fat loss. So prioritizing a nutrient-dense breakfast can enhance your energy levels, support metabolic function, and improve overall performance. Aligning your meal timing with your body's natural rhythms is a strategic approach to achieving your fitness and health goals. Remember, optimizing performance isn't just about training hard, it's also about fueling your body for the high performance you would like. Okay, so let's dive into it. And obviously we're going to be talking about how skipping breakfast is sabotaging your performance. And I notice so many people do this and it's just ridiculous. Like you're shooting yourself in the foot every day. And I'm going to use, because what I've wrote is especially if you have PCOS, and I'm going to use the PCOS example of how this timing of your meal can substantially affect your metabolism, how you function each day hormonally, but also how well you can grow muscle or burn fat, right? And then also there's more extenuating circumstances that develop from that. It's just that PCOS is a really good example to explain it. A study published in Obesity examined the effects of meal timing on weight loss and metabolic health. Participants were divided into two groups, and obviously we had a high-calorie breakfast group consuming a substantial breakfast and a lighter dinner, and then we had a high-calorie dinner group ate a lighter breakfast and a substantial dinner. And after 12 weeks, the breakfast focus group experienced greater weight loss, improved insulin sensitivity, and enhanced metabolic health. Now, this is just a screenshot from that study. You can see the name of the study there. And one of the key takeaways is that the mean triglyceride levels decreased by 33% in the breakfast group, but increased by 14% in the dinner group, right? And obviously the conclusions was high-calorie breakfast with reduced intake at dinner is beneficial and might be a useful alternative for the management of obesity and metabolic syndrome. Noted that metabolic syndrome is quite common for a lot of people, especially if you're overweight. You probably have some sort of metabolic syndrome going on, and PCOS is related to having a metabolic syndrome. Right, looking at hormonal health and meal timing. Another study explored how meal timing affects insulin resistance and hormone levels in lean women with polycystic ovary syndrome, which is PCOS. Noted that the study we mentioned before was actually done in obese women. Okay. Right, so participants in this study followed one of two meal patterns: breakfast focused, majority of calories consumed at breakfast, and also would explain the other group used dinner focused, majority of calories consumed at dinner. And findings for the breakfast focused group included significant reductions in glucose and insulin levels, improved insulin resistance by 54%, decreased testosterone levels by 50%, and increased sex hormone binding globulin, which is SHBG, by 105%, and obviously enhanced ovulation rates. And I'm going to break down the implication of these results, especially the insulin, testosterone, SHBG, and enhanced ovulation rates further shortly. Go to the next slide, and obviously this is the abstract from the study. I'm not going to read through all of this, but I have highlighted it for you. I've read it in my own time, so I'll leave it there. If you want to pause the video, you can read through it. It just breaks down the calories of the two groups and just goes into a little bit more detail there. Right, so looking at the benefits of the hormonal changes in PCOS. So the first one was decreased testosterone levels in PCOS. Relating to having the higher calorie breakfast, right? And those results. So what we see is with decreased testosterone levels in PCOS, we have reduces symptoms of hyperandrogenism, and high testosterone in PCOS contributes to acne, excessive facial body hair, and scalp hair thinning. Lowering testosterone helps alleviate these symptoms. We also see improved skin health, Reduced androgens can decrease oil production, leading to fewer acne breakouts. It enhances metabolic health. High testosterone is linked to insulin resistance in PCOS. Lowering it can improve insulin sensitivity and reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. And lastly, it supports emotional well-being. Elevated androgens can contribute to mood swings, anxiety, and depression. Lowering levels may help stabilize mood. And I kind of guess this is probably like a kind of thing where like women are not designed to have loads of testosterone going around their body, whereas men have. They're designed to tolerate it. So if a woman has loads of testosterone in her body, androgens, they can't tolerate the levels, and it leads to mood swings, anxiety, depression, right? And you'll see that in some women who have used PEDs, and then if they have this heightened androgen levels, and they're quite aggressive, like super high mood swings, and they just can't deal with it. So it's kind of like, you almost understand what it's like to be a man with all this high testosterone flowing around your blood. Like you have to be designed to deal with it, right? Okay, moving on. So looking at the SHBG, and obviously these are the positive hormonal changes from having that higher breakfast consumption, calorie consumption, compared to like skipping breakfast and having loads of calories later in the day, or like binge eating at night. And obviously, it increased SHBG in PCOS. SHBG regulates free testosterone. So SHBG binds to excess testosterone, reducing its bioavailability and mitigating androgen-related symptoms like acne, hirsutism, and hair loss. Man, that's a hard word to say, isn't it? Hirsutism. I think that's it. And then we're looking at it improves hormonal balance. Higher SHBG levels can help normalize estrogen and progesterone balance, reducing irregular menstrual cycles. Looking at also how it enhances insulin sensitivity. Low SHBG levels are associated with insulin resistance, so increasing SHBG can improve metabolic function. And finally, reduces risk of cardiovascular disease. Higher SHBG is linked to better lipid profiles and a lower risk of heart disease in women with PCOS. And it's the same with in men. A higher SHBG reading or being in that state is much better for your hormonal health and your mental health, and just like your long-term health as well, because you're getting a lot of that binding within your receptors to the testosterone that's flowing around. Okay, I think this is the final one. So the enhanced ovulation rates in PCOS, one of the benefits you get from those hormonal changes by having a better breakfast. So one, it improves fertility. So regular ovulation increases the chances of natural conception and addressing one of the primary fertility challenges in PCOS. It regulates menstrual cycles, so more consistent ovulation leads to more predictable and healthier menstrual cycles, reducing irregular periods or missed cycles. Supports progesterone production. Ovulation triggers progesterone release, which is crucial for maintaining healthy uterine lining and preventing heavy or prolonged bleeding. And lower risk of endometrial hyperplasia. Consistent ovulation prevents excessive estrogen buildup, reducing the risk of abnormal uterine lining growth and long-term complications like endometrial cancer. And a lot of hard words today. So endometrial refers to the lining of the uterus, and endometrial cancer is a cancer that starts in that lining. So having that enhanced ovulation rate simply by eating a higher calorie breakfast, especially if it's high protein, but also depending on where your calorie intake or partitioning is for the day, if you're having some carbs there or not, just generally having a higher calorie intake breakfast is going to substantially improve the way you function every day, just from an energy levels point of view, but most importantly from how well you can adapt to stress, and notably stress in exercise. So growing muscle, getting stronger, burning fat, looking better, feeling better. So looking at the timing of the caloric consumption, Consumption of the majority of the daily calories in the morning is recommended for PCOS women, as this results in a decrease in mean serum glucose, decrease in insulin levels in the blood, higher levels of SHBG, and lower levels of testosterone. These effects may be related to the fact that consuming large amounts of calories in the morning is critical to optimize metabolism, which will help obese women manage their weight. Right, this is like a lot of people just like totally ignore breakfast, so this is really eye-opening for a lot of people, I think. The effects of a large intake of calories in the morning happen with no change in BMI. This is encouraging to lean women with PCOS because many of the suggestions to manage symptoms of PCOS are related to losing weight, which is not practical for lean women. The positive effects of high caloric consumption in the morning with no change in BMI is also encouraging to obese PCOS women because losing weight may seem like a daunting task. And obviously sometimes it can sound counterintuitive that you're trying to lose weight, but the actual better thing to do is eat a lot of calories in the morning. And then obviously PCOS women should adhere to the following timing of calorie consumption: breakfast, lunch, dinner. Then obviously high caloric meal, intermediate caloric meal at lunch, and then a lighter, lower caloric meal at dinner time. And obviously depending on where your calorie partitioning is and your macros, where you add in your carbs can be totally dependent on the individual. But you can still, let's say you don't have a lot of carbs in the morning in terms of like carbs related to like potatoes, rice, stuff like that. You can get your carbs from vegetables and have like a high protein diet, which is going to be high animal fat, is going to carry a lot of fat, which is going to carry a lot of calories anyway. So it's going to be satiating for a longer period of the day. And then you can have maybe some other carbs later in the day, like rice or potato. And then obviously both these screenshots are from this study by Alicia Benner. And obviously the introduction here, just explaining polycystic ovary syndrome is a common endocrine disorder, as it is prevalent in 5 to 10% of premenopausal women. I'm not going to read through all of this. This was just some information I wanted to share. If you want to read through it, the highlights, you can pause the video there, but I'm going to move on because I wanted to go on to talk about exercise and training and read through this section here that just kind of brings it all together. So both obese and lean PCOS women should make exercise a daily part of their lives for weight loss and change in body composition by decreasing fat mass and increasing free fat mass. This has been proven to increase the resting metabolic rate, which will aid in long-term weight management. Weight loss should be focused specifically in the abdominal region, as weight deposition in this area is linked to lower levels of SHBG. Remember, we want these high, and higher levels of androgens. Remember, we want the androgens low for PCOS women or people struggling with metabolic syndrome, especially women. Successfully decreasing fat mass while increasing free fat mass leads to improved insulin resistance, lower levels of free testosterone, low levels of LH, and lower LH and FSH. I'm not going to go into those right now, but I'm just going to read through this section because this really ties it all together. It also increases SHBG. All of these factors work to improve the side effects and risk factors of PCOS. A workout plan that incorporates both endurance and resistance training would be recommended for PCOS women. And obviously, if you're already doing this as just a general person, man or woman, then making sure you're optimizing your food intake by eating a high-calorie breakfast is going to improve your adaptation to endurance training and resistance training. Yeah, just obviously the women are less likely to work out and have a lack of self-confidence. That is kind of like, even though like this is a fitness page, right? So obviously everyone watching this probably goes to the gym, but we need to remember that most people don't go to the gym or exercise. I think only like 14% of the UK population actually do exercise, and even less than that go to the gym. So the vast majority of people are less likely to work out and lack the confidence to go into the gym. But if they can incorporate all of these things, then it's going to be much better for them. Okay, so looking at the conclusion. In conclusion, PCOS is very challenging both physically and emotionally for a woman. However, with proper nutrition and exercise, a woman can improve the symptoms and decrease the risk factors that are associated with the disorder. I'll leave this for you to read for yourself. but very interesting study pulled together from Alicia Brenner, paper that she's wrote. Also, there's a link to other studies as well. So looking at the optimized meal timing for performance. So last page? Yeah, last page. So to align with your body's natural rhythms and optimize performance, ideally for most people, this is ideal. Obviously there's a lot of like trend in people fasting and stuff like that. There is benefits to fasting, but if you're trying to optimize your performance, you're trying to have good energy levels, you're trying to provide your body with enough fuel to actually respond to training and exercise, then this is like ideal. So breakfast, aim for roughly 40 to 50% of your daily calories. For most people, that's probably between 7 and 10 a.m. This helps to jumpstart metabolism and stabilizes blood sugar for the rest of the day. Then lunch can be roughly 20 to 30% of your daily calories. Most people might be around 1 p.m., 3 p.m. And this just helps to sustain energy and prevents afternoon slumps. And then dinner time, obviously I've wrote early dinner, the earlier the better. But for most people, like roughly 20 to 30% of your daily calories around 6 to 7 p.m. is probably like okay. When you start to eat very late at night time, it disrupts your heart rate journey and that disrupts your sleep quality. And if you're consistently doing that, you're basically consistently having poor quality sleeps, and that just feeds into the fire of metabolic syndrome, right? So having an earlier dinner prevents late night insulin spikes and supports restful sleep. And then with an overnight fast, if you're going to bed around 9 p.m, 10 p.m, you get like roughly 10 to 12 hours fasting with overnight fast. And this helps to facilitate cellular repair and metabolic health. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I just wanted to blast through it. But if you're interested in optimizing your performance with me, send me a DM or a message and we'll hop on a consultation call. See you on the next one.